Namaste, friends. The topic of today's spiritual talk is that when we meet a perfect living master, our journey is over as soon as the perfect living master accepts us as his or her friend. And most of the time, he or she does accept us the moment we meet them. Now, this is a very, very important topic because oftentimes a lot of spiritual aspirants, they take a lot of stress after they come on the spiritual path, especially this whole topic of finding the right guru, finding the right master. This creates a lot of confusion and lot of burden on people's minds when they come on this path. People often take it upon themselves to be successful or unsuccessful on the path. And this whole definition of success and unsuccess is again based on what we keep hearing from here and there, or keep reading from here and there, or we keep listening to different gurus. There are just too many of them today. You can, as my master Ishwapuriji used to often say, there are more gurus than chelas, right? And he used to say this is something which his master, the great master Baba Sawan Singh Ji, actually told him. And this is so true in today's concept. The number of gurus and masters is just ever increasing. They are increasing exponentially, actually. With every perfect living master departing from this world, there are at least 10 other people who come up and they claim to be gurus, right? And it's very hard for us to know who is the right guru or who is not the right guru. But all of us, at least those of us who are true seekers of spirituality, we want to make sure that we have done all the steps right, and we have put all the ticks in on the checklist that is supposedly required to enter our true home, or Sachkhand as we call it. Now, when I met my master Ishwapuriji, I asked him this question, that Master, since my childhood, being born in India and being brought up in a family which is vegetarian and which is kind of God-loving and God-fearing family, and we believe in God, I have kept attending many satsangs since my childhood, and in different satsangs I keep hearing all kinds of different things, all kind of different ways to reach godhood, or to realize my true self. But all of them seem to be quite difficult, and I'm not able to achieve the ultimate truth or the ultimate experience of spirituality. So what should I do, Master? And Master told me that, Neel, in reality, once you meet a perfect living master, your job is over. And it literally is over 100%. Because after that point, your destiny is decided by the perfect living master who has initiated you. Now, it was very hard for me to believe this in the beginning, even though master told this, and I was very happy when I heard this. But after a few weeks, the happiness started to fade away, because worldly negativities enter our mind, and we don't often remember the exact words or those exact moments that we spent with the master. They kind of fade in our memory, and the positivity that we gain during our meeting also kind of fades away because of all the negativities that surround us all the time. So the belief level goes down, and the faith also starts to drain away after some time. But with experience on the path, like masters bring in a lot of wonderful coincidences that make us make our belief go up, and slowly and steadily we start to see that nothing is actually in our control. Everything that's happening is kind of on an autopilot mode. It was just our mind's misunderstanding that we are the doers. In reality, we are not the doers. In fact, I would go to the extent of saying that even before you are initiated in the physical world, even then things are on autopilot mode, because this is what I learned from my master, that the soul, when it takes birth in the physical plane, it selects a DVD, as he used to call it, a DVD, analogous, something analogous to a DVD, which is like, in the spiritual world, it's called the Akashic records. And an Akashic record is basically a sequence of events placed on the timeline, and the soul during its lifetime just goes through those sequence of events, and it appears that it's living its life. So all the events are already placed on the timeline, which means anything and everything that happens in our life is already pre-decided. It is part of our destiny. It's part of the DVD that we are playing, and we are playing a character within that DVD, right? We are living through the movie of this life that's going on. So that being the case, our job is actually, that we don't really have any job here. Like, when it is time for us to return back to our true home, there is a sequence of steps that take place for us to get back to our home. For those of us who have traveled in an aeroplane, for example, and supposing we have to go to a remote international location, right? We take some measures to get to the airport. We go through the border security, we go through the immigration and everything. And once we get the boarding passes, and we are now sitting near the gate, ready to enter the plane, what is the kind of feeling we have at that time? The feeling we have is that our job is now done, especially when we enter the aircraft and we are now seated on the seat, and we fasten our seat belts. We completely leave all worries, and we understand that now nothing is in our hands, and we will just reach our destination. We don't worry about how the aeroplane is going to run on the runway, or which buttons the pilot has to press in the cockpit. We just have a kind of faith and trust on the pilot. Our job was to just reach the pilot somehow, reach the plane somehow, and then we have to leave it to the pilot. If we keep taking stress about, whether we will reach our home on time or not, whether this pilot will be able to ride fly this plane safely or not, whether the weather is going to be fine or not. If we keep thinking about all those things, all we do is we will increase our stress levels. The flight will still go through the same path that it has to go through. The pilot will still take the necessary steps that he has to take, but it is us who choose to either travel comfortably or uncomfortably, depending on how we think during the flight. So somewhat the path of spirituality is also like this flight. When we meet a perfect living master, we have to have faith that now our job is done. We have reached the aircraft, and this gentleman or this lady who is my perfect living master has to take me forward from here, and there is nothing much that I can actually do. Even if I think or try to do something, it won't really have any effect, because I'm already in the aircraft. The doors are sealed, and there is only as much room available for me to walk within the aircraft. So our life after meeting a perfect living master is pretty much like this. The master gives us some room to play around and go about doing things that our mind wants to do, but more or less we have boarded the flight, and we are bound to reach the destination, which is our true source. So therefore, taking a lot of burden around, did I find the right master, did I board the right flight, all these worries are useless. And the path of spirituality is such that you cannot board the wrong flight, because your DVD is pre-selected. Yeah, and the perfect living master that is supposed to come into your life to take you back is the same. He or she cannot change, and he or she will make sure that they find you and they take you back. The beautiful part about the spiritual path is that in the real world scenario where we have to travel, at least we have to do this effort of going to the airport and looking up the flight and boarding. In the spiritual path, it is the master actually who brings the flight to our doorsteps. But still, he makes it feel as if we are the ones who went to the airport and boarded the flight. He makes it so coincidental that we don't realize that the master is the one actually who is in control, and he's the one calling the shots. So that's something that most perfect living masters have confirmed, that once we meet a perfect living master, our job is completely done. We cannot do anything right or wrong from that point onwards. All rights and all wrongs are decided by our mind. The mind is constantly analyzing what is right and what is wrong. We are trying to do things in the right way in order to reach our destination faster, but we will not reach faster than what is destined, and we will not reach later than what is destined, and we will not be able to do anything that is not destined. So it is basically useless to take worries about whether we are on the right path, whether we have found the right master. We will find the right master. Even if temporarily we found a master who is not really our final master, that master has been sent into our life by our final master. Because maybe we have some karma that we need to go through with this master, whoever we have met and whoever is guiding us at the moment. So never should we worry about having found the right master or wrong master. Master is only one. There is no two masters. It is the same master who keeps coming time and again in different forms. It is the master power. That power is capable of taking any form. How can God or master not take or take only a given form? How can that be possible? And how can there be a limitation on what a master can do or cannot do? There just cannot be. If there is limitation, he or she is not a master. It cannot be a master. Now, masters often, when they come into this world, they make a lot of claims. They make a lot of statements. All those statements, it is important to understand what is the objective of the master. The objective of the master is to take back his or her market souls. Nothing more and nothing less. That's their objective. So they will make statements that are needed to be heard by their market souls, by the minds of their market souls, so that those minds are convinced and they become willing to surrender to that master. That's the matter. That's the crux of the matter. The more we try to analyze this, now what happens in religion is, they document the statements of masters given at a certain time to a certain audience, and they document them into books, and they assume that those statements are universal truths. They apply equally to everybody in all ages, across cultures, across ages, across males and females. They just make those assumptions. The master doesn't say those things. He cannot say so many things, like he cannot make those exhaustive statements because he is also limited in time and space. At any given point in time when he's speaking, he is limited by the time and space where he is speaking, right? Now with technology, these talks are often sent across the globe, and people in different parts of the world listen to these talks based on their own along with their own karmic backgrounds and their own understanding and experiences in this world, and they make different kind of connotations from the sentences spoken by the master. So religion therefore is always prone to being misunderstood by people, and the same thing happens in spirituality also. Oftentimes happen in spirituality. When a perfect living master passes away, what happens is, when the perfect living master passes away from the physical body, the followers often start to remember the statements said by those masters when they were alive in physical form, and start to assume that those statements are true at all times for everybody. When in reality, the statements said by those masters to the souls whom were marked by those masters are true for those souls, but may or may not be true for other souls, because those other souls' karmic background could be different, and they probably need to hear different things at different points of time. So that's why we should remain open when we meet a master, especially when we are on the spiritual path. We don't know who is a master and who is not a master. But what we know is that since we are here and we are pure consciousness, as is explained by so many different masters, we are bound to return back to our true home. There is no way we will not return back to our true home. Our paths may not be the same though. Not everybody will go through the same experiences. Everybody will take their own path back. And it is the master's responsibility to take different souls through their designated different paths. That's why worrying too much about, oh, did I do this right or did I do that wrong? Did I find the right master? Did I not find the right master? Is useless. So, another example which comes to my mind is in the solar system, there is a lot of heavenly bodies that are sort of outside the gravitational pull of the sun, which is in the center, right? And there are planets, and then there are so many asteroids and whatnot. Now, when a heavenly body that's traveling in interstellar space, that is space which is sort of far away from any nearby star, suddenly enters the gravitational pull, perimeter of the sun, it is guaranteed that sooner or later that thing is going to reach the sun sooner or later. Either it will directly reach uninterrupted and will go and merge into the sun, or it is going to hit some other object on the way, will get merged with that object, but eventually that object will eventually fall into the sun. Everything that's revolving around the sun has to fall into the sun sooner or later, maybe after billions of years, but it will for sure. The sun will engulf everything. Similarly, on the path of spirituality, when we come in touch with our true form, God or Master as we call him, it is guaranteed that we will reach our true home. There is no way we can go anywhere else after that. So, with that, I sort of come to the end of this little talk. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're on the spiritual path, if you are in the quest for the truth, I would say seek in your heart. This is what my master Ishwar Puriji used to say. Seek in your heart for the truth. Seek in your heart for the perfect living master, and one will find his or her way into your life sooner than you think he or she would. Thank you so much.